You should therefore not underestimate the influence of your contribution. To get the official program underway, it gives me great pleasure at this time to introduce the first presenter, Mrs. Valerie Elaine Rollins, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the SWRHA, who has competently guided and inspired the authority over the review period. Madam Chairman.
Mr. Ganta, representative of the Honorable Kennedy Richards, Member of Parliament for Point Fortin, Her Worship Alderman Ferry Hussein, Deputy Mayor of the City of San Fernando, former Minister of Community Development, Mrs. Yule Williams, Ms. Binda Bacchus, representative of the Mayor of Borough of Point Fortin, members and external members of the Board of Directors of the SWRHA, councillors and aldermen of the San Fernando City Corporation, Point Fortin Borough Corporation, and other regional corporations, the Chief Executive Officer and Executive Managers and staff of the SWRHA, Chief Executive Officer of the Tobago RHA, specially invited guests, members of the public, members of the media, distinguished guests. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Board of Directors, it is my privilege to convene the meeting of the Board of the Southwest Regional Health Authority open to the public, to welcome you and to account for the fiscal period 2020-2021. I thank you for joining us this afternoon. Your presence signals your interest and commitment to collaborate in ensuring that we continue to serve the population by improving the quality of healthcare delivered at facilities of the Southwest Regional Health Authority. I am pleased to announce that our regular in-person meeting has returned after a 2-year hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused us to previously transition into a virtual online forum, resulted in limited public gatherings and adopting stringent measures of public health protocols in order to conserve life. In July 2020 and October 2021, we witnessed the authority hosting its first and second virtual meetings via the online platforms. Today, we are back again meeting face-to-face as the framers of the Act originally intended. The Southwest Regional Health Authority comprises the 750-bed San Fernando General and Teaching Hospital, the 110-bed Point Fortin Hospital, the 49-bed Area Hospital Point Fortin, 3 district health facilities at Couva, Princestown, and Superior, 2 extended care facilities at Couva and Point Fortin, the New Horizons 33-bed community mental health rehabilitation facility at Piparo, and 31 health centers serving a population of approximately 600,000 people in the southwestern peninsula. Over a catchment area which stretches from Moruga in the southeast to Icacos in the southwest peninsula, and from Freeport in the north to Tabaquite in the east. Our conventional facilities have seen a significant overall decrease of patient visits during the year 2021. It is noteworthy to mention that the 5 emergency departments under our purview have had 170,210 patient visits in 2021, as compared with 234,071 visits in the previous year, 2020. The annual public board meeting is a mandatory requirement outlined in the second schedule, clause 12 of the SWRHA Act, which requires the regional health authority to hold an annual public meeting to review the authority's performance in the preceding year and share its goals and targets for the current year. Today's forum seeks to comply with the requirement of the Act and to strengthen our commitment to the effective delivery of health services with care, compassion, and competence by providing an opportunity for us to share information on our goals, achievements, and challenges, and also obtain your feedback. Ladies and gentlemen, as we deliver the report on the accounting period of 2020-2021, I need to not remind you of the challenges faced as the world was placed in the crossfire of a global pandemic, with Trinidad and Tobago in its direct path, disrupting the foundations of our health system. Notwithstanding such perilous times, efficient planning, prudent and effective management by the legislators, policymakers, sector leaders, regional agencies, and the unwavering commitment of the frontline healthcare professionals and support staff, we have been able to withstand the turmoil. Despite this, the Suarez Board of Directors worked diligently towards maintaining the governance framework to improve accountability and efficiency, providing strategic direction, whilst ensuring the authority was adequately resourced with financial, professional, technical, and administrative competencies to manage the patient's evolving needs as different variants affected the population. The board's 8 committees have diligently provided strategic direction, specific oversight, and technical guidance to the executive management team to inform decision-making for the improvement and maintenance of services throughout SWRHA. This strategic level direction has in turn led to the development of 8 policy documents that translated into the rollout and implementation of standard operating procedure manuals and protocols for practice direction. In alignment with our strategic plan, Transformation for Excellence 2020 to 2023, I am pleased to provide for your consideration several significant undertakings which no doubt redound to improve patient services. 1. Re-engineered the surgical services to include a fully automated surgical waiting list management system and strengthened the pre-OP assessment clinic, which reduced the number of surgery cancellations. 2. Partial automation to the trial system at the San Fernando General Hospital Emergency Department and the bed management system to improve waiting time and admission at the ED. Full automation is expected to be completed within this fiscal period. 3. A reduction of clinical and corporate risk through introduction of a coherent enterprise risk management system and increased compliance with standard operating procedures to raise awareness of the need for best practice, mitigate the cost of litigation, and decrease the incidence of liability. 4. The automation of patient health records has been initiated towards increased accessibility of medical records. This process is also expected to be completed by the end of this year. 5. The implementation of an automated pharmacy services system that has made significant difference in pharmacy services. 6. Through the oversight of the board, we have been advised that 96% of patients who were admitted were warded within 24 hours of arrival. 7. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, the board approved additional technical, financial, and logistical resources for the establishment of the step-down facility at the area hospital Point Fortin, as well as a 24-hour walk-in care center at the Heritage Petroleum site at Mahaika, Point Fortin, and the acquisition of liquid oxygen reservoirs to ensure the facilities never ran out of oxygen. 8. Consistent with our international protocols on climate mitigation and our nation's efforts to reduce greenhouse gases, we have installed solar panels at several of our health centers, which ensured the efficacy of our refrigeration system at the various COVID-19 vaccine sites to maintain the cold chain. 9. Several of our infrastructural legacy assets were enhanced, becoming more aesthetically pleasing for the patients. These upgrades were done by our very own dedicated operations department staff, headed by an efficient chief operations officer, which resulted in significant cost savings. In essence, there was no or little need for external suppliers or outsourced services. While the board's priorities during the last fiscal year were patient-centered and impactful indeed, the CEO will provide additional details on these accomplishments, present the financial report, and expound on others, including progress details on the strategic plan 2020-2023. In 2021, the board, in its evidence-based approach, ensured that high standards of corporate and clinical governance were maintained, whilst guaranteeing that quality improvement standards were sustained. While significant resources were fixated on containing the pandemic, coupled with the vaccination exercises at the mass vaccination sites, health centers, and community road trips, the strategic goals enunciated for the transformation to excellence were always a priority. As a result, an average performance rating of 73% across the 6 goals were realized. Additionally, institutional strengthening activities accrued to 50% completion, whilst the average quality compliance was 90%. The 6 pillars in the strategic goals enunciated by the board and are the focus of the strategic plan are: improve the patient-client experience and outcomes throughout SWRHA, including secondary, tertiary, clinical care excellence; decrease clinical and corporate risk throughout the authority by improved governance; improve primary health care, including mental health, and reducing the burden of preventable mortality; improve health, safety, and the environment, and staff satisfaction; reduce wastage and improve efficiency; adopt ICT as a critical success factor. As you have witnessed, we have made significant progress in some areas despite having the responsibility for 2 healthcare systems. However, there is still much more to be done, particularly in reducing the burden of preventable mortality, decreasing clinical and corporate risk and liability, and reduction in non-communicable diseases amongst the population. At the Southwest Regional Health Authority, we are all committed to improving delivery of healthcare services, impacting positively and compassionately on the people we serve. However, these require the entire team, board, management, and staff transitioning back to pre-cohesiveness prior to moving forward. I repeat, board management and staff transitioning back to pre-COVID cohesiveness prior to moving forward. It is with this in mind, the board in 2022-2023 is looking forward to the following priorities being addressed, since they are aligned to the achievement of 6 strategic goals and will positively impact on both patients and staff. And these are our projections. 1, improving the workflow coordination and accelerating specialty skills training of nursing staff in the emergency department to improve care delivery. A full rollout of the care program. Establishment of the health promotion unit and the introduction of coherent health promotion strategies in support of the TT Moves initiative. Introduction of the adolescent health and men's health programs to prevent NCDs and decrease morbidity. Strengthen the home visiting program by adopting modernized approaches, including technology, to improve home health care and reduce complications. Maximize the operations of the community liaison unit to improve discharge planning, the referral system, and tracking of clinic and other defaulters. Comprehensive review and remodeling of the Department of Medicine to include the full rollout of the stroke unit. Review and expansion and reorganization of the oncology services to address current patient needs. Introduce operationalized technologies to improve cardiac, gastrointestinal, and neurological services. Improve the laboratory and radiology systems to improve timely response and support for high-risk patients, in particular those accessing care at SWRHA. And on to 11, there are 13. Accelerate systems for achieving the International Baby-Friendly Accreditation Certification. 12. To reintroduce the Quality Awards Program to support continuous quality improvement initiatives and innovations and recognize staff for their contribution. And last but not least, to initiate a project of beautification of the San Fernando General Hospital campus. Ladies and gentlemen, at our October 2021 meeting, I stressed that healthcare modernization and transformation with a cohesive team was necessary to improve the SWRHA. We reiterate this commitment with the appointment of one new board member who recently joined the team, Director Ricky Barrett. I also wish to express the board's sincerest appreciation to the former Deputy Chairman, Ms. Giselle McFarlane, for playing a pivotal role in transforming our financial systems, and wish her success in her new endeavor. As a board, we continue to appreciate the unwavering support of our Minister of Health, the Honorable Terence Dial Singh, and the Ministry's technical team. Today's public board meeting solidifies the importance of engaging with all our stakeholders along this journey of transformation, since we rely on your feedback in order to strengthen the continuum of healthcare and increase public awareness on issues affecting the local southern community. I wish to take this opportunity to thank all of those who have rendered services at the SWRHA, especially our dedicated healthcare professionals, our CEO, Dr. Brian Armour, Chief Operations Officer, our Director of Health, General Manager Nursing, and the executive team of managers, heads of departments, supervisors, and other frontline and allied staff, including engineering, utilities, security, sanitation, and all the support staff, as well as external providers to the SWRHA. For it is through your commitment that we have been able to manage the dual healthcare system and still achieve some significant milestones over the fiscal year 2020-2021. To all NGOs, corporate partners, and members of the public who provided tremendous support to the SWRHA during this country's most challenging public health crisis, we are eternally grateful. We also thank the government of Trinidad and Tobago for, through its astute leadership, many lives were saved, including ours, who are here to continue serving you. In closing, as chairman of the board, I again wish to thank you for your presence this afternoon and look forward to your valuable contributions. Thank you for your attention, and may God continue to bless the Southwest Regional Health Authority and our unique nation of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, for your comprehensive overview of the Board of Directors' achievements over the period. To address you, providing an overview of the strategic and operations perspective for the aforementioned period, I invite the SWRHA's Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Brian Amor.
Good afternoon. The Honorable Kenny Richards, Jr., Member of Parliament for Point Fortin, who is represented by Ms. Linda Bacchus. Her Worship Deputy Mayor Dr. Ferry Hussein, Deputy Mayor of the City of San Fernando. Her Worship Alderman Salima Thomas McCree, Mayor of the Borough of Point Fortin. Former Minister of Community Development, Mrs. Joan U. Williams, Chairman and members of the Board of Directors of the SWRHA, Councillors and Aldermen of the San Fernando City Corporation, Point Fortin Borough Corporation, and other regional corporations, Executive Managers and staff of the SWRHA, Chief Executive Officer of the Tobago Regional Health Authority, Mr. Simon Wilshire, members of the public, members of the media, distinguished guests, all other protocols observed. Again, good afternoon. I am pleased to share with you, the members of the public and other stakeholders, the annual report of the Southwest Regional Health Authority for the fiscal year 2020 to 2021. As you may already know, we are the largest of the 5 regional health authorities in Trinidad and Tobago. Our staff delivers healthcare services to a diverse population of approximately 600,000 persons who reside in a geographical expanse that covers more than 1/3 of the land surface of Trinidad. The period under review represents the first reporting year on the SWRHA Strategic Plan 2020 to 2023. Despite the proverbial dark clouds caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, silver linings were indeed uncovered within the SWRHA. We made progress on a number of strategic and operational developments which were monitored by quarterly performance reports. I will now report on the SWRHA's performance, activities, and achievements for the fiscal period 2020 to 2021. While continuing to fulfill our remit and meet our business plan objectives, the dedicated staff responded decisively to the pandemic. As shown, the row 1 pictures depict that we attended to over 170,000 patient visits to the emergency departments, over 120,000 outpatient clinic visits, and over 280,000 patient visits in primary health care. The middle row shows that, the second row shows that we treated over 48,000 patients that were admitted to our wards. We performed over 9,000 surgeries for the year, and under review at our hospitals across all areas, and we successfully delivered over 4,400 babies at our hospitals. Moving forward, as shown, we achieved an average infant immunization rate of 92% across all counties, broken out with 96% in County Victoria, 93% in County St. Patrick, and 88% in County Carney South. We were able to totally or partially dispense 94% of all prescriptions for the reporting period, and we conducted and processed over 1.7 million laboratory tests. In the last row, it shows that we processed over 200,000 radiological images. We conducted over 36,000 physiotherapy sessions, and we conducted over 5,000 patient clinic visits in our mental health services. Noting strategic goal number 1, the first of the 6 pillars, which is to improve the patient-client experience and outcomes throughout the SWRHA, including secondary, tertiary clinical care excellence. First picture indicates that the SWRHA has made improvements to wait times in the emergency department, San Fernando General Hospital specifically, for patient admission times to an inpatient unit. For the period under review, 96% of patients who were admitted were warded within 24 hours. It also shows the remote filling of prescriptions, and the extension of pharmacy hours continued during the period to accommodate patient convenience, whilst the last image shows and depicts that the patient's accessibility to healthcare services were inevitably affected by the pandemic, which resulted in 57,117 telehealth consultations being conducted in order to maintain the follow-up of patients for the period under review. Patient experience remained a priority, even when face-to-face contact was not possible, especially in the outpatient and primary healthcare clinics. Undeniably, COVID-19 impacted our service delivery. For some months, non-urgent services, for example, elective surgeries, were curtailed to respond to increasing pressures on acute services. This decision, while necessary, impacted several of our clients and resulted in an unavoidable inconvenience. However, these difficult decisions allowed the health system to provide critical care to an increasing number of confirmed COVID-19 positive patients and reduce the risk of the capacity being exceeded. As we reimagined and re-engineered to improve our overall delivery of care, we implemented new pathways of care for COVID-19 and non-COVID-19 related services. We increased hospital capacity, we resourced community services, we adopted technology at an exceptional rate. Although this was all catalyzed by COVID-19, these changes are aligned with our long-term strategic direction. Reporting on strategic goal number 2, decreasing clinical and corporate risk throughout the SWRHA by improved governance. We are pleased to report that the past year highlighted the importance of fast, decisive action in responding to the pandemic, while still doing all in our power to mitigate risk to our patients, staff, and the general public. During the period under review, work continued to further enhance governance arrangements, and the established executive-level oversight committees began implementation of key transformational programs, projects related to the operating theaters, committees that dealt with issues of cost savings to the authority, patient safety, business communication, and human resources. Reporting on strategic goal number 3, which is to improve primary health care, including mental health, the SWRHA's primary care network acts for us as the proverbial front door or first point of contact to our health services. The vast majority of patients' concerns are managed at this level by our primary care teams at our 34 primary care sites within the community setting. Our services include disease prevention and health education, which incorporates screening with preventative measures, community health services, including non-communicable disease clinics, antenatal and postnatal care, child health and school health services, integrated specialist programs in primary care, bringing services traditionally offered only at hospital even closer to patients, and 4, a series of allied health services. During the period under review, the primary care teams worked closely with the wider healthcare system to mitigate and limit the spread of COVID-19 using evidence-based strategies, disease surveillance, and health intelligence. All primary care services continue to be offered in a modified format, ensuring the safety of both our patients and our staff. The pandemic reduced the number of traditional home visits conducted. Notwithstanding, a re-engineered community home visiting program was initiated during this period, utilizing a family-centric model. The quality home visiting program includes patient and family health checkups, screenings, referrals, parenting advice, guidance with navigating other programs, linking families to community resources, and additional supportive services as needed. The science showed that the risk for severe illness with COVID-19 increased with age, with older adults at higher risk. Responding proactively to protect our elderly population, the SWRHA during this period also implemented the Golden Experience Initiative to vaccinate persons 65 years and over. Also to report to you, the Global Hearts Initiative expanded, albeit at a slower pace. This initiative involves the collective adoption and implementation of evidence-based interventions and practices towards the prevention and control of cardiovascular diseases, which include heart attacks and strokes, amongst the world's leading causes of death. The HEARTS model focuses on improving clinical preventive services and cardiovascular risk management in primary healthcare. Following from the launch of this program at the Freeport Health Center, training of the clinical staff on the prevention and control of these diseases continued throughout the fiscal period under review. A core health promotion team was also formed to operationalize the work of the Health Promotion Committee. This team also supported the vaccination efforts throughout the SWRHA. The SWRHA's Health and Wellness Education Program, as depicted, was maintained through our monthly presence on the WAC 90.1 FM radio station. Health topics included infection prevention and control at work and at home, COVID-19 and breastfeeding, smoking cessation, managing mental health, safety in the workplace, and disaster preparedness. The culinary food park hydroponic system, as shown, is indeed the first of its kind in a public health institution in the country. And this was launched at the San Fernando General Hospital, and this project was actually selected as a finalist for the President's IDB Award in 2021. Lands at the New Horizons facility in Peparo were prepared for further expansion of this program. This health promotion initiative at our own facility, the New Horizons facility, supports sustainable food production that links agriculture, food nutrition, and health outcomes. It allows us to demonstrate our care for our patients' health in accessing organic food, our compassion in teaching them about healthy eating practices and methods to grow their own foods, and demonstrates our competence as an authority in service to the people. Expanding a little bit more on this initiative, we would like to report that for the period, based on those initiatives, the produce harvested during this period, which included 58 pounds of sweet potatoes, 90 pounds of tomatoes, 147 pounds of pak choy, 196 pounds of chive, and 253 pounds of lettuce, with a total retail value of $9,821.50. The Culinary Medicine Food Park program has now been extended to the Point Fortin Hospital and includes pumpkin, cucumbers, okra, corn, and additional green leafy produce. Still within strategic goal number 3, the mental health program will now be highlighted. The SWRHA recognized that the COVID-19 pandemic amplified mental health issues for many, and at the same time introduced barriers to accessing services. In response, COVID-19 psychosocial support and mental health interventions were provided utilizing virtual and telehealth media for patients in parallel healthcare facilities, as well as individuals who were quarantined at home, the general public, and even for our own staff. The mental health professionals provided care, counseling, and treatment for patients, which amounted to over 5,000 clinic visits. As we now report on achievements for the period under strategic goal number 4, which is to improve health, safety, and the environment, and the staff satisfaction. During the year under review, the SWRHA continued to implement safety action plans. Comprehensive safety checklists were generated and risk-based assessments were conducted. Evacuation plans were developed for 11 health facilities under review. Measures were further enacted to ensure proper COVID-19 screenings and protocols, and utilization of personal protective equipment were conducted. Additionally, strict visitation protocols were embedded to reduce risk to patients and staff. Staff education that was related to personal protective equipment, COVID-19 and hand hygiene, and overall emergency planning were continuously conducted. There were significant human resource achievements to be noted under the strategic pillar that speaks of staff satisfaction, whereby over 542 temporary staff from COVID-19 facilities were offered one-year contracts with gratuity and sick leave benefits for the period. During the period, we also rebranded our internal employee solutions desk to log internal complaints, and we were also able to settle in the period, in the midst of the pandemic, issues of award of arrears of increments to all eligible permanent employees. As we now report on strategic goal number 5, reducing wastage and improving efficiency, throughout the fiscal period, the SWRHA continued to manage its financial resources in line with good practice and all relevant governance requirements. Resource mobilization strategies were employed to optimize and maximize the use of in-house resources to complete COVID-19 related projects, thus reducing the need for outsourcing, as shown in the front row of pictures before and after. In order to maintain safe, high-quality care throughout the pandemic, special focus was placed on human resource management. During the year under review, we strategically redeployed resources to areas of critical need, such as our emergency departments and intensive care units, as well as COVID-19 testing capacity within the community, in order to address the increased demand to care for patients with COVID-19. The acquisition of the liquid oxygen reservoirs for the Augustus Long Hospital and rental of same for the area hospital Point Fortin was quite significant, as this resulted in cost savings, quality patient care, and oxygen security during the pandemic. Within the strategic goal, the bar graph illustrates that for this fiscal year, the SWRHA expended $1.23 billion to deliver these quality services to the public. Personal emoluments, inclusive of salaries and staff benefits, amounted to approximately $931 million, whilst the goods and services component of our subvention amounted to approximately $217 million. COVID expenses during this period amounted to $86,988,335.94. The red bars indicate the expenses incurred at the non-COVID-19 facilities, while the blue bars show the expenditure for the COVID-19 facilities. During this period, the SWRHA had an overall deficit of $97,152,611. Focusing more on expenditure during the fiscal period under review, the funds requested for the authority under the Capital Public Sector Investment Program amounted to $52,192,000 $140,817.75. The SWRHA demonstrated a 100% spend rate of our allocation on medical equipment upgrades, hospital refurbishment, and physical investments. Continuous improvement leads to quality care and improved outcomes and experiences for our patients and clients. Given our fiscal reality, it is imperative for healthcare to focus on value for money and efficiency to ensure sustainability of our services. Reporting on the last of our strategic goals, which is to adopt information, communication, and technology as a critical success factor. Efficiency improvements were made in the SWRHA Health Information System. In 2020 to 2021 period, planning began to identify the functional and technical requirements needed for the automation of the patient health records in the emergency department of the San Fernando General Hospital. Though it is outside this reporting period, I'm pleased to report to you that from March to June the 30th of this year, 2022, outside the period, 34,352 patient encounters were entered using the automated system. As a critical success factor, ICT achievements have served as a foundation for transformation at the SWRHA. Other key accomplishments include the operationalization of the new Point 14 Hospital, operationalization and expansion of the COVID-19 facilities, software upgrades, rebuilding of the new SWRHA website, COVID-19 electronic database to track patients' appointments, virtual public board meetings that occurred for the last 2 years, including the fiscal year under review at the SWRHA, establishing telemental health, Ministry of Health SAMI pharmaceutical inventory application rollout at selected sites in the SWRHA, and enabling of the regional transition to virtual meetings, all occurred during this period. The pandemic response has transformed our technological architecture, which will have long-term benefits to the authority, and by extension, the public and clients that we serve. It has highlighted some areas of innovation with delivering care using virtual means. These learnings will be further explored to support future innovation in delivering healthcare services to you. As we report on the facilities with respect to administration, infrastructure, and operations, principally based on our public sector investment program project investments, during the fiscal period, the available capital funding was prioritized to address infrastructural and clinical risk. The SWRHA procured, installed, and commissioned equipment for use in both primary and secondary care facilities, namely electrosurgical generators for the main operating theaters in San Fernando General Hospital, direct digital radiography retrofit system for the accident and emergency department, San Fernando General Hospital and Princeton District Health Facility, as well as defibrillators and ventilators. During the period under review, major public sector investment projects were 100% completed, and these included, as depicted, the expansion of the neonatal intensive care unit and the upgrade of the labor ward. Reporting further upgrades also occurred at the Ward 1 San Fernando General Hospital, which is currently still in progress. Further electrical upgrades also occurred at the San Fernando General Hospital, which at this present time, as we speak today, is 95% complete. And during the period of review, we procured 10 new ambulances. As part of our drive to improve the aesthetics of our facilities, restorative and refurbishment works were also carried out on some of our primary care facilities to improve the safety and ambience at these sites. Now, wishing to report on this SWRHA vaccination of drive, these collage of pictures show that the fiscal period under review ushered a ray of hope with the administering of the approved COVID-19 vaccines. As you are aware, The largest vaccination rollout program in our history began in February 2021 among healthcare workers. A hybrid approach using our conventional vaccination sites at our healthcare facilities and outreach centers, but combined with our high throughput, large venue mass vaccination sites as led by the Ministry of Health and implemented by the regional health authorities, was adopted nationally. With respect to the COVID-19 vaccination sites, I wish to highlight that the Southern Academy for Performing Arts and the Penal Power Gen sites were operationalized as mass vaccination sites within our region. Other vaccination sites included the MIC Technology Center in Pleasantville, the NESC La Brea campus, and the Southwest Regional Indoor Sport Arena in Point Fortin. With respect to our COVID-19 outreach vaccination sites, the outreach model was adopted and operationalized to increase access to vaccines, engage communities, and vaccinate persons in areas where they live and work. Vaccination outreach activities included areas such as shown Princestown Promenade and Maruga, as well as the drive-thru at the Manny Ramjan Stadium. As part of our drive to improve the aesthetics of our facilities, restorative and refurbishment works were also carried out. Sorry, my apology. Also, the slide showed drive-thru at the Manny Ramjan Stadium, Marabella, and Esperance Regional Complex, Barracore Regional Complex, Faizabad, and New Grant, just to name a few. Noting the private and business sector collaborations in this effort, we also wish to report that the pandemic collaboration between the public and private sectors was evident, with 4,434 persons being vaccinated using this approach. Private sector businesses included Massey Stores, Marabella, Courts, South Park, Superfarm, Marabella, PriceSmart, Laramie, Ramsden Sports World, Coover, Gulf City Mall, and many others. Reporting further on the COVID-19 vaccination program, from February to the 30th of September 2021, the fiscal period under review, the SWRHA administered 279,231 doses of the approved COVID-19 vaccines. In providing a more contemporary update based on national interest still at this time, we wish to report that as of the 30th of June 2022, the SWRHA cumulatively has administered 438,059 doses of the COVID-19 vaccines. We have seen the impact of the vaccination program to weaken the link between infection and hospitalization or death. Some key facility upgrades were also conducted during this fiscal year under review with respect to the SWRH's COVID-19 response, and we start with the area hospital Point Fortin, which was converted to a step-down facility to meet patients' needs during the pandemic. There were 788 patients treated at this facility from July 2021 to June 2022. Infrastructural works carried out to further expand the heritage-owned Augustus Long Hospital as a COVID-19 treatment facility. There were 1,557 patients treated at this facility from the period July 2021 to June 2022. At the UE-owned Dede Academic Facility, upgrade works, inclusive of the construction of a nurse's lounge, the installation of a trolley ramp, and the construction of an area for oxygen tanks were conducted in this period. A total of 1,760 patients were cared for at this facility as at July 2022. The Point Fortin Hospital was repurposed into a COVID-19 treatment facility effective May 21st, 2021. At the Point Fortin Facility Hospital, 1,966 COVID-19 patients were treated between July 2021 to June 2022. Also within our COVID response for this unprecedented pandemic, during this period, a 24-hour walk-in facility was established in collaboration with the heritage-owned Point Fortin Medical Center at the Heritage Administrative Building site in Point Fortin to meet the emergency clinical needs of the non-COVID-19 patients given the repurposing of the Point Fortin Hospital for the period under review. Solar panels were installed to ensure efficacy of refrigeration for the COVID-19 vaccines at various sites, namely the Office of the County Medical Officer of Health, Victoria, and the primary care facilities at Cedras, Freeport, Gasparillo, South Oropouche, Point Fortin, Marabella, Laramine, Moruga, Indian Walk, and the St. Madeleine Health Centers. The COVID Integration Mitigation Executive Level Committee remained active throughout the year under review to ensure central oversight of the clinical and operations response to COVID-19 as aforementioned. As you will recall, during 2021, there was an increase in COVID-19 cases. The SWRHA recorded over 16,000 COVID positive patients as at the end of September 2021. An updated snapshot, again out of national interest, of the utilization statistics for the COVID-19 facilities under our jurisdiction is provided for information today. In terms of COVID admissions and discharges, from July 2021 to June 2022, there was a total of 6,080 admissions and 5,064 discharges across all parallel COVID-19 facilities. To date, all of the COVID-19 parallel facilities have been decommissioned with the sole exception of the Augustus Long Hospital. The Point Fortin Hospital was decommissioned on March 9, 2022, decontaminated, and reopened as the new state-of-the-art hospital. The Debe Academic UE site was also decommissioned on March 9, 2022, and is to be reverted to its original purpose by its owners. The area hospital Point Fortin was decommissioned more recently on June 28, 2022. The hospital was decontaminated and is earmarked to be used futuristically as a palliative care center. We also would like to report that during the period under review, we also established a long COVID clinic in August 2021 for patients suffering from the long-term effects of the virus. Of the 182 patients registered in the clinic, 37 have been successfully treated and discharged. To date, there are 145 patients registered in the clinic. Despite all what we have reported with respect to COVID, we are now in what is considered the post-COVID era. So as we navigate our new normal and remain vigilant of the risks posed by the COVID-19 virus, we continue to plan and work along with the Ministry of Health with a special focus with leadership from the Ministry of Health on 4 key areas. 1, non-communicable diseases. 2, testing, treatment, and control programs that relate to HIV and AIDS. 3, decentralization of mental health services. And 4, voluntary, non-remunerated blood donation re-engineered drives. We also want to report for the period evidence from you, the public, based on commendations we have received. Client and staff feedback continued to be monitored for suggestions to improvement in quality. We were happy for this period to receive 1,156 commendations from you for this review period, expressing satisfaction with our staff and service. As mentioned, at a strategic level, the SWRHA Strategic Performance Average Rating, we have assessed at 73% for the period under review across our 6 strategic goals and 70 objectives. Strategic goal number 1 was 71%, which speaks to the patient-client experience at all levels of care. Strategic goal number 2, 67%, with respect to decreasing clinical and corporate risk through improved governance. Strategic goal number 3, 74%, that has a focus on primary health care, including mental health. 73% performance with respect to goal number 4, which speaks to issues of health, safety, and the environment and staff satisfaction. 75% performance throughput with respect to reducing wastage and improving efficiency as goal number 5. and 80% performance throughput with the last, but by no means less or more important, in fact very important goal of adopting ICT as a critical success factor. While the authority has made considerable progress as it relates to our strategic plan, there still remains much to be done as we continue to explore ways of improving our delivery of healthcare services. So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the aforementioned spotlighted what we accomplished in the past fiscal year for both COVID services and regular services. As CEO, I was and will continue to be proud of the work of my executive management team and every member of our staff throughout the region. I am grateful for the exemplary work and service they provided and the sacrifices they made for the population. I also want to thank our board of directors for their strong governance and the support received throughout the year. By extension, gratitude also goes out to the Ministry of Health, state agencies, the owners of private sector agencies and businesses, my colleague on other regional health authorities, and other support stakeholder agencies. To the Southwest population, thank you all for choosing to be vaccinated as we continue to forge through global health challenges. The collaborative all of society and all of government approach was clearly evident and beneficial throughout the period being reported on. Our achievements, despite the unprecedented circumstances of a global pandemic, chronicles the altruism, dedication, and teamwork of our staff and testifies to our care, compassion, and competence. On an ongoing basis over the past year, our staff have worked long hours, weekends and holidays included, in the national interest. In doing so, the SWRHA maintained focus on our core objectives of promoting wellness, improving efficiency, clinical and operational excellence, and providing quality, customer-focused health care. It is therefore no exaggeration to say that the pandemic has impacted everyone. Our thoughts are with all of those affected, and we offer our heartfelt condolences to all those who have lost loved ones. In particular, though, we remember our healthcare workers who we have lost to COVID-19. We acknowledge that being of service is not only about what we do, but how we do it. The impact of our achievements for this period and beyond reflects the SWRHA core values of integrity, excellence, compassionate care, teamwork, respect, organizational learning, accountability, and innovation. As our transformation continues, we will collectively continue to build on the progress made during the fiscal year 2020 to 2021, and we are confident that we can make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Amar, for that wide-ranging presentation. Before we proceed, in the presence of Her Worship, Alderman Salima Thomas McCree, Mayor of the Borough of Port Fortin, thank you for being here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to state that if you have questions, comments, or suggestions, they will be addressed in the Q&A segment, which will commence following the Quality Awards Program presentation. Please feel free to write down your questions on a comment card provided in your package. As you are aware, in October 2019, the SWRHA officially implemented our Strategic Plan 2020 to 2023, entitled Transformation for Excellence, which provides a visionary roadmap for the future. I invite you to now view the video presentation on the strategic plan.
Welcome to the Southwest Regional Health Authority, or SWRHA, Transformation for Excellence. This production provides valuable insight and takes you on a journey of SWRHA's Strategic Plan 2020 to 2023, outlining the authority's vision in developing, improving, and providing an excellent healthcare experience to you, our valued clients, as well as offering a comfortable work environment for our committed employees. At the SWRHA, we strive to offer innovative, quality healthcare in a safe and comfortable environment. With a catchment of approximately 600,000 persons, we account for almost half of the population of Trinidad and Tobago. The boundaries of our region are Freeport in the northwest, Tabaquite in the northeast, Icacos in the southwest, and Moruga in the southeast. Within these parameters, we provide healthcare services at 31 primary care facilities, 3 district health facilities, 2 extended care centers, the New Horizons facility, and secondary care at San Fernando and Point Fortune General Hospitals. The authority has developed a 3-year fiscal strategic plan, which acts as a catalyst for the implementation of innovative solutions, service excellence, and visionary leadership through 4 strategic pillars demonstrated in clinical excellence and quality of care improvement in primary and secondary health care, capacity building, patient ambience, and infrastructural improvement. The development of the strategic plan was a delicate and thorough process driven by the competing demands of offering the best innovative care in all areas with limited economic resources and lower global energy prices. Several diverse stakeholder meetings included clinical, operations, and administrative teams, along with members of the board of directors, executive, management, employees, and patients themselves contributed to the final overlay of this forward-thinking plan. Our core values. This strategic plan is underpinned by the abiding principles in which the SWRHA dedicated staff are engaged to our core role of providing healthcare services. Integrity, excellence, compassionate care, teamwork, respect, organizational learning, accountability, and innovation. Our vision. The SWRHA's vision to become the leading provider of compassionate, cost-effective, premium quality healthcare services. Our mission. Our vision is complemented by our mission statement. We are in the business of promoting wellness and providing compassionate, cost-effective, customer-focused healthcare to the people of the Southwest region within the guidelines of the national policy and ensuring our staff a productive and rewarding environment. At SWRHA, we want our patients to understand their role and expect the best of us as health caregivers. The SWRHA has developed a patient-centered comprehensive plan that goes well beyond 2023. To improve the healthcare of everyone in this region, we place laser-focused attention on 6 holistic areas important to us. Focusing on these 6 areas point us towards the future to achieving our national vision in accordance with the UN Sustainable Development Goals 2030 and the National Development Strategy. The SWRHA's vision is well articulated through the goals and objectives. Strategic Goal 1, improve the patient-client experience and outcomes throughout the SWRHA, including secondary, tertiary clinical care excellence. Strategic Goal 2, decrease clinical and corporate risk through the SWRHA by improved governance. Strategic Goal 3, improve primary health care, including mental health. Strategic Goal 4, improve HSE and staff satisfaction. Strategic Goal 5, reduce wastage and improve efficiency. Strategic Goal 6, adopt ICT as a critical success factor. By 2023, SWRHA will be able to offer a suite of online services accessible by the touch of a button. This can be achieved after the implementation of 6 strategic goals.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Patricia Smith-Grasham. I'm a primary care nurse manager attached to County Victoria. I have been professionally associated with the Southwest Regional Health Authority for the last 22 years. The Strategic Plan 2020 to 2023 would provide opportunities for us to strengthen the relationship between primary and secondary care. In this way, we have a smooth transition for patients, and in addition, it will reduce the revolving door phenomenon which causes overcrowding at the major hospitals. I am looking forward to be a part of the transformation that will come about with the implementation of the Strategic Plan 2020-2023.
Good morning, my name is Peter Richardson. I have worked with the SWRHA for 23 years. I'm currently working with the Policy Planning and Research Department as a research officer. Our strategic plan tagline, Transformation for Excellence. This can be achieved by the Policy Planning and Research Department by recording parameters within the health information system for continued data capture and analysis, with emphasis on health service indicators. This can also drive research to inform policy making and practice within the SWRHA. I look forward to being part of the implementation of this plan, Transformation for Excellence.
Good day. My name is Andy Adams. I am currently employed with the University of Trinidad and Tobago as a maintenance craftsman. And today I want to let you know about the services of San Fernando General Hospital. Over the last 4 years, I've had to use these services here 3 times, in 2017, and then again in 2019, and in 2020. And I must indeed say to Trinidad and Tobago that the services were more than I bargained for. I just really want to let Trinidad know, because lots of times we have a lot of negative things said, but when we do have the good things said, it is never reported. No one hears about it. So today I'm proud to be a Trinidadian and to be here to represent and let the people of Trinidad and Tobago know, hey, the services at San Fernando General Hospital is world class. I have been very pleased and proud and well served, and I just want to say thank you for the great services I received here at San Fernando General Hospital.
Visit our website at www.swrha.co.tt. Contact us at 225-HEAL or 225-4325. Call our toll-free 24/7 available hotline at 87-SWRHA, that's 877-9742. And like, share and follow us on all major social media platforms.
All right. Okay. Indeed, that strategic plan video production has piqued my interest, and I'll share to the SWRHA's social media pages if you wish to see it again. Care, compassion, and competence are the watchwords of the authority, and every day our dedicated staff endeavor to deliver the highest quality of care to valued patients. Our healthcare facilities are centers of excellence, and to share information on the upcoming Quality Awards program, please welcome our final presenter, the General Manager of Quality and Risk Management, Mrs. SWRHA.
Representative for Kennedy Richards Jr., Member of Parliament for Point Fortin. Her Worship, Dr. Ferry Hussein, Deputy Mayor of the City of San Fernando. Her Worship, Alderman Salima Thomas McCree, Mayor of the Borough of Point Fortin. Former Minister of Community Development, Mrs. Joan Mule Williams. Chairman and members of the Board of Directors of the Southwest Regional Health Authority. Councillors and aldermen of the San Fernando City Corporation, Point Fortin Borough Corporation, and other regional corporations, the Chief Executive Officer, Executive Managers, and staff of the SWRHA, members of the public, members of the media, distinguished guests, good afternoon. The SWRHA is pleased to announce the launch of its Quality Awards program, and I am here to present an overview of the program. At the SWRHA, we promote care, compassion, and competence, and we believe that the Quality Awards program allows us to demonstrate this commitment. This program is mirrored from the Ministry of Health National Health Sector Quality Awards program introduced in 2003. We have tailored the award to allow us to address the areas of deepest concern of our valued clients. Therefore, the objectives of the Quality Awards are to 1. Allow the SWRHA to further inculcate our core values, 2. Facilitate improvements in our service delivery, 3. Enhance the customer experience, 4. Promote the adoption of best practice, 5. Allows for innovation and benchmarking, 6. Foster teamwork and team spirit, 7. Allow us to motivate, recognize, and reward our staff, and 8. Strengthen our external partnerships. I will now present a preview of the award categories. For our first award program, there will be 16 categories, encompassing both primary and secondary care teams and individuals. The Project Teams Award will further recognize persons working in both the clinical and non-clinical areas. There is also the Customer Service and Service Improvement Award for both primary and secondary care. On the individual level, we will award excellence among our medical professionals, nursing and midwifery professionals, allied health professionals, professionals related to medicine, manipulative staff, and management professionals. So how will this process work? There are the application, submission, and evaluation processes which culminate in the distribution of awards. The application and submission processes. Applications will be made via the head of department and submitted directly to the Office of the General Manager, Quality and Risk Management. Persons will have to give a descriptive summary of 125 words. The submissions must be endorsed by the executive team lead and must contain verifiable evidence in support of the information presented, and of course deadline dates will be given for all submissions. The evaluation will be conducted in a 3-tiered system involving internal verification and independent assessment. For the self-assessment, the applicant will identify the category of award, the facility, department, and the project sponsor, and these applications must be aligned to the specified criteria and guidelines. A Quality Awards verification assessment team will be convened and responsible for conducting the external review independent of the self-assessment. The results of the evaluation will be submitted directly to the General Manager, Quality and Risk Management. The independent assessment will be conducted by an adjudicating panel appointed by the board who will carry out the final judging and selection of awardees. This panel will review the verification reports and may conduct site visits while making their determination. The panel will then make its recommendations to the Board of Directors for adoption. Winners will then be announced at the SWRHA Quality Awards ceremony. The SWRHA has heard the feedback from our clients and have chosen to highlight the following criteria as an example of an award category and just present some of the criteria. And that award category is customer care and service improvement. The criteria and associated percentages as follows: client-centeredness 30%, client satisfaction 30%, safety 25%, and integrated holistic approach 15%. So client-centeredness. Care is administered in accordance with the patient's Charter of Rights and Obligations and Health Services Accreditation standards. Staff is respectful and courteous to clients. Staff communicates information in a manner that is easily understood. The expression of patients' clients' beliefs is allowed within the institution's policy guidelines. Patient complaints are acted upon in accordance with the client feedback policy. There is evidence of satisfactory commendations from patients. For client satisfaction, customer surveys are conducted periodically to determine satisfaction and quality of service at the facility. Clients are informed of changes in appointment dates and times. Clinical care is delivered in accordance with standard operating procedures and protocols. The environment is maintained to facilitate client comfort. Signage, brochures, and other health education devices are available. Patients' privacy and confidentiality are maintained at all times. Safety. Staff is cognizant of the relevant safety regulations, standards, and guidelines in the health system. Example, the accreditation standards manual, infection prevention, etc. The environment is safe and free of hazards for patient care. Example, functional bed rails are provided, non-skid tiles are provided, handrails, there's adequate lighting, adequate water, toilet facilities, etc. Mechanisms for monitoring the maintenance of medical equipment, also for monitoring safety devices at the unit, and at the end of the day, care is delivered in a safe manner. Integrated holistic approach. There is evidence that clients are actively involved in the decision making related to their care. The family members receive continuous communication on the care of the client. An environment that facilitates the needs of the family significant other is provided during the hospitalization of the client, and there is effective coordination to ensure that intervention by auxiliary units is timely and efficient so as to reduce client discomfort. So while we award excellence, we believe that this vehicle will help provide focus to our actions and interventions to propel SWRHA toward becoming a leading provider of compassionate, premium, quality health care services. The program starts now for the 2023 SWRHA Quality Awards ceremony. Are you ready for the challenge? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valdomin, for your enlightened presentation, and we look forward to the implementation of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, now time for one of the most important elements of today's proceedings. I invite you to note a few important house rules during the question and answer segment. We will facilitate as many of your questions as time permits. However, questions, comments, or suggestions not addressed in this forum will be attended to by the Board of Directors. If you do have questions, seeking clarification, or to make a comment, please stand in line at the microphone, and when you are acknowledged by the Master of Ceremonies, please state your full name and general area of residence. All questions should be addressed to members of the Chairman, Board of Directors, or the Chief Executive Officer. Additional questions can be submitted via our email address at publicboardmeeting@swrha.co.tt. That's publicboardmeeting@swrha.co.tt. For employees of the authority, please know that all queries or concerns should be directed to the Employee Solutions Desk at the Human Resources Department, and you will receive a response within 24 to 48 hours. It should be noted that this platform is an opportunity to address issues and concerns from members of the public. The floor is now open. Good afternoon. Please proceed with your question. Please state your name and general area of residence. Thank you.
Phyllis Brooks from San Fernando, in San Fernando right here. First, I want to congratulate the Southwest Regional Health Authority for the things that have been done, despite the situation with COVID. And when I looked at the number of surgeries that were done, more than 9,000 surgeries were done, and that is really good. But question, I was told that medical patients are placed on surgical wards, and I want to know if that impacted on the number of surgeries, if more surgeries would have been done if that did not happen. That's my first point. The second point is concerning blood donation. I've read something about some baby something, and I want to know if at San Fernando, the Southwest Regional Health Authority, if there's a problem with, when people come to give blood, so that all the tests, are not being done. That is, I feel that, I saw it on the paper, so I want to know if South is having a problem with that. And I really want to again say, whether it's vaccines, surgeries, medical, COVID-19, Southwest did well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. With respect to surgeries and the issue that you've heard of the medical patient on a surgical ward, they are not necessarily related. Just to explain, the number of surgeries is dependent on during the pandemic period, is dependent upon the availability of persons to put it to sleep, called anesthetists. And the COVID pandemic presented a unique challenge where these same anesthetists had to provide intensive care services for a lot of critically ill persons. So that was one thing that was impacting on surgical services for that period. And with respect to medical patients and surgical wards, we have internal protocols only if medical wards are filled. Then we determine for patient care which other wards have available beds, and they are temporarily housed in other wards, at least for the period under review. Because unfortunately so many persons had COVID, we found a lot of patients coming to what we call parallel facilities, and our occupancy rates actually dropped in the regular services, so there was not that issue for that period. With respect to the second point, if I recall what you were saying correctly, with respect to babies and the blood donation program, the Ministry of Health is still actively launching, and they have launched on June the 14th World Blood Donor Day. It's led by the Honorable Minister and the Ministry of Health, and with the regional health authorities, we are looking to move away from previous system of a chit system, which brings some element of expectation or reward, to international best practice of what we call a voluntary, non-remunerated blood donor, which essentially means that you just give because it is the right thing to do. So we have done recent significant refurbishment, internal training as led by the ministry, and we were the third in a series of the national launch from Northwest starting and North Central, our colleague RHA, so we actually were pleased to have the Honorable Minister come and launch our leg of the blood donation drive. So that, I trust, answers the question. If there's anything further, as the Master Ceremony said, please feel free to send a detailed comment or question and we could answer further. But the short answer is that we have launched under the ministerial guidelines a revamped and re-engineered blood donation program, and it has started off pretty successfully.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions from our public audience here? We do have a question from on the online platform from Mr. Roy Riv. His question is, what is being done to fix the dental clinic? Since 2015, I am waiting for surgery, and every time it's always the drill isn't working.
Okay, so thanks for the question. With respect to dental services, yes, we do admit that there may be some challenges with respect to staffing resources, but we are working with the Ministry of Health, and recent strides have been made in terms of recent hires that are coming across to the Ministry of Health. We are looking at our staffing, and as well as ensuring that some of the critical services in primary care are continuing. But if you permit me, Master Ceremonies, I'd ask the Director of Health if there's anything else you'd like to add.
Director?
Question. So the dental services, for a while we have been challenged because of the staffing arrangements. We are correcting that in concert with the Ministry of Health, and we are looking actively to hire dentists at the SWRHA. We are in the process of producing a dental health plan to include the primary care and the tertiary, secondary and tertiary care services at some of the institutions, primary care institutions, etc. Some of the infrastructure needs to be upgraded in terms of the chairs, etc. And that is on our radar to fix as well. So in a short while, our dental health services will be back up and running. Thank you.
Thank you, DOH. Once again, I invite any questions from members of the public.
Good afternoon, members of the head table and all guests. Bernadette Barkers, Point Fortin. Based on the presentation, some things did pique my interest. So one of the first things under your SG Goal 4, safety, health and safety and so on. In this particular area, how would you say on a scale of 1 to 10, or how robust is your disposal of medical waste in terms of being able to treat with that? And if there are any green disposal systems that is being used or that is being looked at for the future to improve that aspect. Secondly, what is in place with respect to your telehealth system? Do you think that there is a lot of buy-in from your clinicians and people accessing that system? Is it in a place you would like it to be in terms of your telehealth/telemedicine type process or system and accessibility? Third thing, with your patient health records, I noted the amount of automated entries. Just curious to know if within all in the network under the SWRHA, is there connectivity or interconnectivity? I appear at one facility and you're able to pull my records, and being able to have that as a strong point with respect to your health information management system. And my last thing is, from the awards system that is being, the quality awards, something jumped out at me in terms of infection prevention and I guess by extension control. There is an issue with AMR, antimicrobial resistance and antibiotics use. I don't know how robust the infection prevention side of things are, if we do have a crisis, but it's not been spoken about, but it did come up in terms of the rollout of that quality award system, and if that's something that is being addressed or being looked at in terms of your patient care. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions.
Okay, thank you very much for the questions. I've noted 4 questions. With respect to disposal of medical waste and green disposal, well, we do have policies and procedures, we do have the staffing and workflow processes, and we do have the equipment that enables disposal of medical waste. So medical waste that cannot be cleaned or laundered is disposed, and is mainly at this point by incineration systems that we have principally at our major hospitals. With respect to green disposal, the Ministry of Health, working together with the Ministry of Planning and the SWRHA, we are actually quite advanced in terms of the green technology for the new incinerator. I'm just looking for confirmation by the Chief Operations Officer that I'm technically correct. So actually, we should be within the next couple months be able to activate even a more cleaner incineration method that basically does not involve smoke and plumes and fumes. So it will be very green, right? With respect to the telehealth systems, as stated, we actually had no choice in order to preserve the regular system and even COVID. So we found ourselves in a very advanced telehealth system. We did virtual medical consultation. So in very understandable terms for everybody, it's like if you walk into a clinic and you see a doctor and then you go to the pharmacy and get your medication, that did not occur because of telehealth during that time. So it was virtual consultations, virtual bookings, even virtual notification to collect your prescriptions and so forth. With respect to our corporate and administrative meetings, that all converted into virtual platforms. So even post-COVID, and that was against our already pre-existing bedrock of our 87 SWRHA call system, which we then expanded to our COVID-19 telehealth system. In that system, persons used to call to ask a lot of questions concerned about their health or their risk and exposure, and then we also had very robust primary healthcare telehealth surveillance systems where principally we were literally calling persons every day. So from getting a test, determined that you're positive, most people fared well at home. From the time you were quarantined to the time you exited, it was all through telehealth. So I trust that answers the question with respect to telehealth. So therefore we employ the technologies. And well, the human touch, as you know, it can't not only telephone, it's still look, listen, touch, feel, you know. So there's still a human touch element. So we are mindful as human beings, but the short answer is yes, telehealth. And we believe we have done pretty well. With respect to the patient health records, you're correct, it's a good observation. As I said, at this point in time, we are fully automated at the San Fernando General Hospital Emergency Department in terms of all categories of staff being able to enter information about your health digitally, and very importantly, also receive results digitally on your IT-enabled device. It has also been launched as about last 10 days at Point Fortin Hospital. San Fernando is quite advanced, such that we are seeing true automation at two levels. One is that we have realized now that there's likely no more need for stationary at the emergency department. So we are looking at that. And with respect to the interconnectivity, you are right, looking at the entire enterprise. So we have our vision from here, and it's led by a very strong health and information system committee, and it has oversight by the board through the quality committee. What we have 5 emergency departments. 2 are automated. The other remaining 3 are the district health facilities. That's our next target, to get automated, since we have succeeded at 2. And then we are going to proceed further with respect to looking at automation at the wards, because all wards have computers, and that is a sizable investment, but we are proceeding to do that. And then you have certain systems that are already highly automated, or pharmacy services. Right now we have connected Point Fortin, San Fernando hospitals, and we could even connect to North Central through the radiology information system. So what we are finding as we grow with the ICT as a critical success factor, patient care is improved, the staff has adopted the technology through sensitization and training, and now as super users, everybody is very excited. In fact, now we're getting more queries, well, what can the system not do? And we're trying to match the expectations, right? With respect to the last question with awards, the awards program and the infection prevention and control program, it has been robust. SWRHA has led, even in the COVID pandemic, for example, we were able to turn from outsourced sanitation services to in-house services. We designed a national, well, not a national, we designed a Southwest protocol that the officer, the chief medical officer, gave us a green light to adopt, and basically we have a very comprehensive infection prevention and control protocol, which protected us during COVID. In fact, the comment was made it safer to work in a hospital than to go out there and go in the community during COVID. We were very, very, very tight. Right? With respect to issues of antimicrobial resistance and so forth, that is done through our IBC committees, our medical directors and nurses. I must confess I have a medical background, so I will still turn to my director of health on that last point. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Even I'm administrative. So with respect to IBC, the administrative controls with respect to policies are there. The engineering controls are there for COVID and regular services with respect to equipment, physical barriers being created, and of course our personal protective equipment to assist in IBC and our sanitation. It's all present. And the outcome evidence of any sort of major outbreaks and stuff, that just simply did not occur. But I'll turn to my director if he has anything to add on that last question.
Yes. Thank you again. So, with respect to antibiotic resistance, we have board-approved policies for adult and pediatric antibiotic use, which addresses the issue of stewardship of antibiotics. So, within the guidelines and the parameters of those 2 board-approved policies, we have an oversight of the use of antibiotics, and it directs us to allow us to use antibiotics safely to minimize the risk of antibiotic resistance, which we know in the modern world and modern healthcare settings is a growing threat. So far, I'm pleased to say that we have not seen a significant burden of antibiotic resistance, but we keep a close and vigilant eye on it, and we also have a very active IPC department that reports routinely on the activities that point to antibiotic resistance. Thank you.
For response, DOH, we have another question from the online platform from Ms. Anita Lacan. When will the cardiac catheter service lab be offered to the clients of the SWRHA?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. That is a national active discussion with the Ministry of Health, for which we'll take direction at this point in time. Once there's need for cardiac catheterization services, the current milieu of options is clinically assessed. We normally refer to the social worker, and we normally work with the Ministry of Health for outsourced providers. I know the Director of Health will certainly want to add. Hope he doesn't mind saying he's a specialist cardiologist. So in terms of moving from outsourced considerations for the public sector to have, I can't see those are active discussions. It is complex in terms of resources to mobilize. It's expensive undertaking and a lot of staffing and training. And like every other service, I would just like to add before the specialist speaks that it still comes down to prevention. Because if everybody waits till they get sick, then the demand on services it cannot sustain. So it comes down to prevention of your risk factors. But the Director of Health, please. Thank you.
Thank you again, and thanks for the question. So the SWRHA does not have a cardiac catheterization laboratory, which is the place where the angiograms are performed. So currently, patients requiring angiograms coming through registered within our service are referred to the EPP service of the ministry, and they outsource it to different providers. There are plans to have a cardiac catheterization lab constructed within the Southwest region, but I have no definite time when that will happen. We have on board interventional cardiologists who can perform the cardiac catheterizations if required. Southwest may be in a position to assist by contracting out some of the services of private labs to deliver that, but that is somewhere off for the time being. So both cardiac catheterization, diagnostic and therapeutic services are not available. I might add that cath lab is also used for delivering other types of vascular surgery. So when we do get a cath lab, we'll be able to do additional work, including putting in vascular access for patients requiring dialysis and other patients who might require intracranial work, neurosurgical interventions in a cath lab. So we look forward to the day when that happens, and our staff is ready and eager to get on board to help deliver some of these services to the public of SWRHA. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DLH. Appreciate the response. We have another online question from Ms. We have another question from the online platform from Ms. Janelle Ganis. Her question is, are there conversations about bringing more outpatient clinics at the Point Fortin Hospital, such as eye clinic, as well as accessing eye medication at the Point Fortin Hospital?
Well, Director, I'll just yes, all services are being actively looked at this time. We do have at the core Point Fortin Hospital, we do have general medical, general surgical, obstetrics and gynecology, to some extent pediatrics and mental health services. If I recall correctly, the Director could confirm. Some of what we call the subspecialty services, whether they be eyes, ear, nose and throat. It is a balancing act because resources are finite. It's based on the demand for the service versus the staffing and personnel and resources that we have. But not only at the Point Fortin Hospital, but at primary care services, and that's also a national discussion led by the Ministry of Health. Elements, for example, like diabetic foot care, diabetic eye care screening in all our community clinics or at centers of excellence in the community, and then we refer onwards to the hospital system. So it is not just simply that everybody can or should be accessing services in a narrow needle gate hospital. It still has a prevention community-based program arm, and then only those at risk or assessed to be at risk come forward, because you just don't want now to have a bottleneck or demand for the services. But the Director of Health, I'm sure, could give more details.
Thank you again. Yes, so currently, no, there is no eye clinic at the Point Fortin Hospital. peripheral specialist clinics is part of our strategic vision and our strategic goal. At SWRHA, we do have a community eye clinic at Princestown. Further discussions are being held and to engage the heads of the department, clinical heads of the department, to expand these community clinics to various facilities, including Point Fortin Hospital. Point Fortin Hospital also has the possibility of us offering eye surgeries at Point Fortin Hospital for patients of that area. We also have to look at some of the equipment that they have to ensure that that service can be started up. I know the medical director of Point Fortin Hospital is very keen and is actively pursuing some of these discussions. So we will continue to support and ensure that some of these specialist services are delivered. Some of these will be entirely new services that we are going to have to deliver to that area. In some of the cases, the previous specialist services like dermatology services, etc., that may have gone down because of COVID, we will look to see if we can get those up and running again on a timely basis. The frequency depends on how many patients in the area that require to be seen. So yes, the delivering of specialist services in the community is part of our strategic goal, and we will be working towards that. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the list of online questions we have thus far. We're still open for the floor to allow persons from the public to draw your questions, comments, or commendations to our panel sitting right now. If not, you still have the forum of the email where you can send such questions, comments, and commendations to publicboardmeeting@swrha.co.tt. Please feel free to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the Q&A segment, and thanks for everyone for your questions online in the audience and the responding persons within our panels. We have come to the end of the Q&A segment on our meeting for the accounting period 2020 to 2021. We're indeed grateful for your sterling contributions, and for our final act, I now wish to invite to deliver the vote of thanks the Deputy Chairman of the Board of Directors, Dr. Malachi Ojuro.
Thank you very much, NC. The representative of the Member of Parliament for Point Fortin, Her Worship, Alderman Celine Thomas McGree, Mayor of the Borough of Point Fortin, Her Worship, Alderman Ferry Hussein, Deputy Mayor of the City of San Fernando, Mrs. Joan Yule Williams, former Minister of Community Development, Chairman and members of the Board of Directors of SWRHA, Councillors and Aldermen of the San Fernando City Corporation, Point Fortin Borough Corporation, and other regional corporations, the Chief Executive Officer of SWRHA, and executive managers and staff, the CEO of Tobago Regional Health Authority, and other CEOs and executives of other RHs, members of the public, members of the media, distinguished guests. Good afternoon. My own is a very simple one this afternoon. On behalf of the SWRHA's Board of Directors and as Deputy Chair, it is my privilege to move the vote of thanks to acknowledge the dedication in service of all who have contributed to making today's public board meeting a success, as well as the hands that have made the workload less demanding. Indeed, as the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer stated earlier, we are now more keenly aware of all the strides the authority has made in the previous fiscal, which have ensured that the lives of our valued patients were positively impacted. As a medical doctor myself and a user of our services, I too have felt the effects of service delivery and actually take this time to congratulate my colleagues, including the chairman of the board, the chief executive officer, and all the clinical, administrative, and operations staff for their yeoman service. I wish to actually mention that notwithstanding the momentous challenges the pandemic posed in the fiscal 2020 to 2021, we actually have persevered. So I want to congratulate all the members of staff for a job well done. Please permit me to express my thanks to the Almighty God, for it is through Him all things are possible, and without Him, all our successes, achievements, and inspirations for improvement will be insignificant. I will start by thanking Ms. Annalisa De Pisa of the Policy Planning and Research Department. The powerful invocation served as the opening salvo, laying the foundation for our fair and frank discussions. Mrs. Valerie Allen Rollins, the Chairman of the Board of Directors, we extend to you our sincere appreciation for sharing the board's achievements over the past year and pronouncing on the strategic goals and priorities envisioned to be accomplished within the fiscal 2021 to 2022. To our Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Brian Amo, a consummate professional, public health specialist, and healthcare strategist, we are grateful for your comprehensive and informative presentation, providing the population with sufficient details on the performance of the RHA, even during the turbulent period of the pandemic. The Board of Directors and management and staff also look forward to the implementation of the quality agenda as so well articulated by Mrs. SWRHA, General Manager of Quality, Risk and Improvement. We thank you for your comprehensive guidance, which actually has us excited. Our gratitude must also be extended to the moderator, Mr. Jason Dampert, Manager of Health, Safety, Environment and Planning, who has eloquently ensured a smooth flow of this afternoon's proceedings, providing an easy transition from presentations during each segment. To our gracious hosts for this year's meeting, the management and staff of the San Fernando City Corporation, we thank you for your hospitality and the creation of such a convivial atmosphere. Indeed, we anticipate that for next year's edition of the public board meeting, we shall return to this venue. I also wish to thank you, our distinguished guests, members of the public, who took the time to register and attend our board meeting that is open to the public. Thank you for your contributions and queries about our progress as an organization. Your input is extremely valuable and important to us. Without your feedback, we are limited at evolving to meet your needs. Hence, we welcome and value your feedback, not only today, but every day, as we believe that it is integral to continuous improvement. It would be remiss of me if I don't acknowledge our appreciation to the staff of the Board Secretariat, the Information and Communication Technology, Policy Planning and Research, Quality Improvement, Corporate Communications, and entire staff members of SWRHA, who worked effortlessly. We thank you for your roles in organizing this event. You deserve congratulations for a job well done. To the media, we thank you for your presence and look forward to your positive coverage of this event. In closing, I wish to express my gratitude to all our staff and partners who have contributed to the achievements. And I wish to implore you to continue to provide the quality, dedicated service you have so well displayed throughout this pandemic to all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chair, for that heartfelt vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this afternoon, and God bless.